Hello, and welcome to a Kearney Original Conversation. Today we are joined by Kearney's newly elected managing partner, Bob Willen, to unpack the future of Kearney and his views on business in Africa. Bob was recently elected to serve as the firm's 10th managing partner and chairman. He has more than 25 years of consulting experience, leading strategic and organizational transformations for large commercial and government clients globally. Previously, Bob headed Kearney's global aerospace and defense, automotive, transportation, and infrastructure practices. Having held the regional chair role for Kearney's Middle East and Africa region from 2015 to 2024, Bob is no stranger to Africa, and specifically South Africa. He's a firm believer in the future of our continent and our country, and sees immense potential moving forward. With that, it is such a pleasure to have you in the Johannesburg office. Welcome, and thank you for joining us, Bob.
Very happy to be here, Nantandu. Thank you.
I'd like us to start at the beginning. So can you tell us a little bit about how our journey in Africa started?
Well, I think, as I said before, we've been operating globally for quite some time. We've had a presence in Africa for 30 years. We established our first office in Africa in 1995. So this has been a long-time commitment for us. I think we see work that originates from Africa. We also have a lot of work for our clients that have elements of work in Africa too, helping global organizations navigate the continent as well. So this has been a long-term story. I think it's a story which has still great potential. Maybe it's in the early stages, I'd like to believe. There's so much more that we can do together to help Africa really develop itself, but play a bigger role in the global economy at the same time.
Absolutely. And you spent quite a bit of time as the regional head for the Middle East and Africa region. So I think you have quite a deep understanding and an appreciation for the unique context of the African market and how the continent has shifted. So if you take that experience and looking ahead, how do you see the market evolving going forward, and where do you think some of those key opportunities or trends lie?
Well, I think what you see similar to the Middle East is really the role that public-private partnership plays in the broadest sense. Government policies help to shape the direction of the future for the citizens, for the economy, certainly for the large organizations. Many times they're directly investing. Many times they're setting regulatory frameworks for organizations to develop. I think that's more of the future we're going to see in different parts of the world. I think that's where the Middle East has taken a very active role trying to shape their future away from oil, trying to diversify the economy in different ways, but also preparing what is a very young population for a different future. I think a lot of that plays out in Africa as well. Tremendous resources, a young population, a population which is more connected than ever before, who also expect and want to create a different future. We can help that journey. We can help that transformation in so many different ways. And I think those similarities is what we're seeing in more parts of the world nowadays. We have to be ready as a firm to help in that journey in all the ways we work together with our clients.
Given this change and evolution that we're seeing in the African market and these kinds of opportunities, how do you think that translates into South Africa specifically, especially given that we've got quite a strong presence in the South African market already?
I think the journey we're seeing reflects probably what happens across the world as you know. I think an economy progresses as it moves towards much more private sector-led engagement and drive to really make a difference to lead the transformation. I think first the public sector is really sort of giving the opportunity for private organizations to take a stronger role, to play a bigger role in making the difference to transform for the future. Part of that is through regulatory shifts. Part of that is through direct privatization work. It's also really clearing the way for foreign direct investment, which is always an important part of any sector and any country, any ecosystem, and how it shifts. I think in turn, private organizations are also, perhaps after years of somewhat lackluster growth, are seeing the opportunity to rationalize, to streamline their operations, to prepare for more investment. That may look more like M&A opportunities in the future. It might look like restructuring to create new value and to prepare for a different future. So really, this is where we see the public and private sector working together, but it's very much future-oriented. And I think this is a journey which other countries have gone through, which we're seeing really play out much more sharply now in South Africa.
Absolutely. And that definitely resonates with the kinds of projects that we've been doing and how we've been supporting our clients in the South African market specifically. We've really started to build some core capabilities that I think will be quite fundamental in how we support our clients going forward. So how would you say our go-to offering to the market has evolved, and what are those core capabilities that we really should be double downing on?
Well, I think first our clients really see us as a partner of choice, and that's great. I think it's something we're all proud about, the momentum we have and momentum that we're creating in the market, really with critical clients, important clients that we know we're making a difference. That reflects itself probably in three areas I think we're focusing a lot of our work. One is value creation and restructuring, really seeking new opportunities, the M&A, the divestitures, the taking perhaps state-owned enterprises and shifting the way they're structured and the way they operate and deliver value. I think efficiency and productivity improvement is certainly there across the ecosystem. This is about perhaps preparing and streamlining organizations so there's the investment that can be directed towards the future. And I think throughout all of it, a third area is operating model enhancements. These are the various changes that organizations make to prepare for a different future, to make sure that there is alignment between the different aspects of any organization, which is so critical to prepare for the future.
Absolutely. And that point on inclusion, I think, also speaks to something you raised earlier around the private and public participation. And we're seeing a lot more of a shift in this direction and supporting clients in facilitating that kind of change. But as we draw to a close, which are the final thoughts that you would like to leave our listeners with regarding the future of Africa and Kearney's role in it as a business?
I think some of our best markets in the world where Kearney is successful really blend some of what we've talked about today, Ntando. We see that what's good for the economy, maybe what's good for the country, is also directly correlated with what's good for Kearney. When we do great work, we have such an impact which reaches across not only the organizations which we serve directly, but the broader economy, the broader ecosystem, and certainly the national entities that we work with as well. So I think we're on that track in Africa. And, certainly South Africa is leading the way, such an important market for us. But I think what we'll start to see more across Africa is that alignment. I'm excited for that. I think that's where we do our absolute best work. It's motivating for our people, and it's motivating for the firm to see that kind of impact.
Absolutely. I think just from this conversation, I am motivated and excited. Well, this brings us to the end of this episode. Bob, thank you so much for taking the time and sharing your thoughts, not only about the future of the continent, but also of our business and Kearney's role in Africa. I think having you visit during your first 100 days as the global managing partner speaks volumes about the vision and the commitment that our firm has to the continent. And we're very excited for the journey ahead.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed it, Ntando, and I look forward to returning again in the near future.
Thank you.